Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, he came 500 years ago to introduce this sublime method of self-realization by chanting Krishna's names. So this is a very unique appearance of Krishna. Normally he comes as God, but here he comes as a student or a devotee of God, so that it will be easier for us to follow him, because in Kali Yuga everybody wants to be God. So people would kind of try to imitate him. Here he comes as a teacher, comes as a student, so that the students can feel at home and follow him.
And he also comes to glorify the path of bhakti, because what could be greater than the pleasure of the supreme enjoyer? And that pleasure that he also hankers to experience is the pleasure of being not the object of love, but the repository of love. He wants to experience what is this particular kind of joy that someone who is practicing bhakti, someone who's experiencing the deepest mysteries of bhakti, what are they experiencing? And he feels bereft of that. It's like the sugar wanting to know, what is the taste that my greatest, I guess, lovers are experiencing? And so he comes really to glorify the path of bhakti, because in this form he shows that bhakti is actually even higher than being the supreme.
Even the Supreme desires this bhakti, this taste of service and this taste of love that his devotees have for him. So we also see this unique aspect of God, where the God is also seeking. The God is seeking that love. Because sometimes we doubt, is God really interested in me? Or how much is he interested in me? But here we see that he is actually interested in all of us as much.
I think there's a beautiful line that says, what you seek seeks you.
Yeah.
Like much more than what we can imagine. So I think now we'll start. Thank you all for joining. So today we're going to recite this very beautiful uh, verse prayer by Lord Chaitanya.
So maybe we can start from the first one, kind of repeat it again, and then go to the second one.
Okay.
It's not going to take that much time.
Okay.
Amrit, when you're playing the music in the background a little bit, it's not breaking our sound, right?
No problem. It's okay.
Let's sing it together.
Really?
Because
Okay, then the second one we can.
Yeah. Jito darpanamajanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shriyakairava vitranam vidyavadu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam Pratipadam purnamrita swadanam Sarvatma sabanam Param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan movement, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years. Thus the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death, is extinguished.
This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it helps to have a taste of the full nectar for which we are always anxious.
Now today we'll do the second one, which is our Namamakari Bhagavani Ja Sarva Shakti Tatrapi Niyamita Smaranena my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction upon the living beings. And therefore, you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna, Govinda, etc. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies, and there's no harsh rule for chanting these holy names. Oh my Lord, you have so kindly made it so easy to approach you by these names, but unfortunate as I am, I have no attraction for them.
So, first, Lord Chaitanya describes the so many benefits of chanting these names, and then he describes how easy it is to chant these names.
Mm. And then, the thing is that as we spoke yesterday, there are no hard and fast rules. And the most beautiful thing that is that all of the potency, all the different energies, uh, opulences, they're all completely invested in these names. And not just that he has one name, but there are countless names. And in different cultures, in different traditions, there are different names of God, right? So
Yeah.
you have names like Allah and Jehovah and Christos and Krishna and Govinda and Rama, and you have all of these names, and all of these names, they're non-different from the named. And we spoke about that yesterday, the difference between absolute and relative. That how in the absolute realm there is no difference between the sound and the person that the sound is actually calling out to.
That's the meaning of absolute truth or absolute omnipotency of the Supreme. That there is no difference between the name and the named. Because so many people, and especially in Kali Yuga, they claim to be God or incarnations of God. But is can anybody say that there is no difference between their name and the person? We cannot say that. Therefore, um, this is something that we realize as we start chanting Krishna's names with this understanding. So he's giving us the understanding with which to chant Krishna's name. And we may not realize it, but at least when we understand it and accept it, that I do not have this understanding, but I know that you are not different from your name, Krishna.
Also, in this verse, this is also the gratitude verse, because bhakti is really gratitude in action. So when we understand that how the person that we are seeking, that what we are seeking is seeking us in turn, and has appeared or manifested completely in his complete majestic opulence in his names, and they're so easily accessible, then it makes us realize that it makes us realize two things. One is this extreme gratitude, and along with that extreme gratitude, this extreme humility that Lord Chaitanya is exhibiting, where he's saying that I'm so wretched, I'm so unfortunate, that in spite of the fact that you come knocking on my door with every syllable, with every mantra, with every word, but I have no attraction. And so in this way, when we enter into these moods, then the doors of bhakti, they take us into these very confidential experiences. And this is what is actually being offered to each one of us, is this most intimate exchange of love with our most intimate friend.
Yeah, when we are in this conditioned life, um, we tend to look at things which are good for us and not good for us. Everything we judge, is this good for us? Is this good fortune or bad fortune? And so many things we classify as bad fortune for us. But here Lord Chaitanya is saying, Durdevam, this is the greatest misfortune for us, that we have no attraction for Krishna's names or God's names. And um, this lack of attraction is basically we're trying to compensate that by being attracted to so many things in this world, so many distractions we have, and none of them satisfy us.
And actually, if you think about it, this world is actually just a world of names. And it comes and it goes like foam on water. There is no permanent existence, and all of these names that we have in this material world, they only cause us distress and heartbreak in the ultimate sense. And so here are these names which are fully capable of satisfying us in the deepest of ways. And also another way to think about it is that how there was a study that was done that showed that a person's name is like the sweetest sound in the world. And they did an experiment where they showed that, like under like MRI scans, when a person is called by their name, their that center of the brain lights up, which is connected to pleasure. So in the same way, the Supreme Person is also a person like us in some ways, and so when we call these names, then he becomes very happy and very pleased. And especially when we call very intimate names. So each one of us, we have names which are more official, and then there are names that are very intimate. And so these names like Krishna, Govinda, these are very intimate, confidential names. Like in Bengal, you have something called Daknam. Daknam means a name that only your very close family, friends, call you in sort of like a very unofficial and informal manner.
And these names, like for example, when we call Govinda or Krishna, these names evoke a lot of loving emotions in Krishna, because his most intimate devotees, they call him by these names. So even when we repeat these names, um, Krishna is reminded of so many pastimes that he has with his devotees, and that's why he's attracted, especially the names coming from the mouths of his devotees, or even a beginner like ourselves when we call out Krishna's name. And Krishna has been waiting to hear that as a super soul for countless lifetimes. And just imagine, we have been waiting sometimes. Um, like when I first came to the US, I used to wait for the mail to come from India. And I used to write a letter and then wait for the mail to come. And when the mail would come after 2, 3, 4 weeks, then it would bring so much joy. So Krishna has been, just imagine, he has been waiting for so many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes, to hear that we are calling out to him. It brings him tremendous joy.
So this is Lokdaksha insisted that I share this, which I just wrote like I think half an hour ago. So seek your blessings that you can bless me and pray for me. But here is this poem which is connected to this idea of. So let's read and we'll talk. My mind is like a restless fish moving to and fro, pauses for a moment only to change its goal. I see a raw fisherman sitting on the Ganges shore, casting baits in trance to catch the unsuspecting souls. I sit by the river steps, uttering your sacred names. My mind on a frenzied chase wanders in an aimless maze. O divine fisherman, cast the sweetest bait and let my fishy mind be caught in thy loving gaze. So, this is our prayer that, when we sit down to chant, our mind, we may notice that it is running here and there, and most of it is aimless. And so, in this chanting, we can call out to Krishna, who's really the divine fisherman, that he can give us this taste, this tiny little taste that we can bite into, and then our minds can be caught, which is otherwise just moving restlessly like a fish. So let's try and chant.
So gathering the humility from our misfortune that we have no attraction, we admit that we have no attraction to Krishna's names, but still pray with the hope against hope that Krishna, please give us some attraction for your names. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, Hare Krishna, we can now take any reflections, any comments or questions you'd like to share. Yes, Vishal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji. Prabhuji, Mataji, when you were mentioning that Krishna is present in his name, Krishna is present in the sound, and he is repeatedly calling us. So I was thinking, when he's calling us, why I'm unable to hear his call? Like, what is it that is blocking me? So there is a wall that is blocking his call. That wall is the wall of false ego and unlimited desires to enjoy this material world, and which is causing me not to listen. And my calling is also, it seems like, not deep enough, not coming from my heart. And I mean, my calls are also not sincere enough. That's why I think probably it's not being heard, or being heard, but I am not able to realize that it is being heard or not. So yeah, I mean, I think I need to work on this wall repeatedly. It's not a one-day wall; it's like millions of years of wall that I need to work on. So that's what I was thinking, Mataji.
Very nice. Thank you.
It's a very nice reflection.
Very nice reflection. Yeah. There is a wall that blocks us. Yeah. Anybody else? Turtle, any thoughts from you? Aditi, Bhuvaneshwari, I haven't heard from you.
Hare Krishna. I was just, I really loved your initial slide where you said, I think you quoted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said that it is so easy to call out Krishna's names, but I still don't do it. And I think that sort of very clearly reflects where I am right now. It's so easy. I mean, you don't need any formalities. There's no framework. There is no strict process, but a simple call out is enough. I think that is a very strong takeaway for me.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Bhuvaneshwari. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Ravita.
Very nice poem, Vidarbhaji. Mind is so much wavering, like the kind of fish movements and the sweet bite. The explanation was amazing. Give us that sweet bite so that we can reach the Lord. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hey,
Hare
Aditi.
Krishna, Aditi.
Hello. I was just thinking that like what you shared before, I was about how, you know, our taste is not so great for Krishna, and so we're asking that he hear our calling out his names. It just makes me more grateful for Krishna that we don't have to do that much. Like, it's so easy to do this recitation and our minds can wander and still we can somehow be heard. And it makes me think too that the goal is not to have perfect focus, but just to feel grateful, and that too makes it easier.
Yeah.
And I really loved your poem, Mataji. Thank you for sharing it. It's a beautiful image.
Thank you. Loka kind of insisted in almost. So, but I'm happy to share it with all of you. Thank you.
So we were at this morning. There's a beautiful river here called Jalangi, which is a branch of Ganges here, and we often go there, sit near the steps there. There's a ghat there, and today when we went there, actually whenever we go there, we see a whole row of fishermen sitting across the river and just sitting there. And initially we're thinking, what are people doing there? Then we realize they're fishing, and they're sitting still, waiting, and
Yeah,
it's kind of
amazing. It's a beautiful space. Maybe we'll click a picture for you guys and then share that picture with you guys. Yeah, it's a nice spot. Anybody else? Thank you. Shrishti, any thoughts from you? Vijay, just calling out randomly. Yes, Shrishti, go ahead.
No specific thoughts as such, but I'm listening to all these beautiful comments and the verses that you shared and the poem that you shared. I think really amazing and overwhelming for me right now to say anything anymore. But I'm really fascinated by all the meditation sessions that we do and all the chanting, and I think I can see the effect in just 13 days. Although I didn't attend the class yesterday, but then I do make sure that I chant on a daily basis, even if I miss the classes. So I think that is helping me a lot.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for being present every day, making this circle happen. We're so grateful to you. And we're already feeling your separation.
I know.
Thank you, Misha, Vinati, Kakali, Mamata, Eunice,
Renu, Vijay, Ravinder.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, that Zoom image that you see that has been done by Turtle, we're so grateful.
Our thumbnail.
Yeah.
Turn on the camera, then you'll see it. This one has been done by Turtle.
So thank you so much. So beautiful. Thank you. Yes, Mamta, we'll share it. We're actually planning to start an Instagram. Actually, on that note, if someone has any experience of Instagram, the world of social media